Short video today about loft. So loft, and what difference does it make in terms of distance? So we've got two P770 heads, one's at 30 degrees, one's at 28. Going to hit them, look at the data, look at what difference it actually makes. So one of the key things here is really making sure that when you're testing clubs, that you're aware of what the loft differences are, because it will make a difference to how far the ball's going to go, but also we don't want that to get in the way of you deciding what the best option is as well. So I got this at a little bit weaker than standard at 30 degrees, and we'll get a little look at where we get with this. So I've got the shaft that I use in my own irons in here to keep it as neutral as possible. Do the one more just to get a good base average. Right, so three fairly similar shots there. So generally speaking, 2 degrees difference, roughly half a club in terms of loft, should be approximately 4 or 5 yards. But it's also what difference it makes to launch angle, spins, those factors come into it as well. So not only are you looking at the distance the ball goes, we're also looking at what it does to the pitch of flight. Let's tag this as the lower loft. So obviously we'd expect to see launch angle and spin come down a little bit, ball speed to go up a little bit, and therefore distance to go up a little bit. So 2 degrees in loft difference. What doesn't help is when I hook it left as well. That's not that is going to mean it goes a lot further. So let's see if I can replicate shot type. Yeah, that's got a little bit more of a, makes that fade. Okay, let's see if I can get one more of that shot in, because that's the same as we got with the first three. Okay, so if I get rid of that first one, which was pole drawn, I'll go into just pull those down. So a little bit more club speed, half a mile an hour more club speed, but by going down 2 degrees in loft, actually for that batch of shots, the spin hasn't changed too much for those particular shots, but ball speed's up a few miles an hour, launch angle's down a half a degree, and there is your 5 yards more in terms of distance. So I'd expect if you were to take a broad range of shots rather than just one or two, we would certainly expect to see the spin come down a little bit more. But equally speaking, here we're getting that distance gain that we're looking for. So I'd probably expect it to be maybe another 200 or 300 revs of difference in total. If we were to say a broader selection of shots, we'd see a little bit of a difference in spin. So actually, that might stretch it out a little bit more sort of 6 to 7 yards in terms of that carry distance with the change in loft. So we're also able to bring down the peak height a little bit. So depending on your launch and spin dynamics, you'd use as long as the heads are adjustable for loft, so certain heads being softer materials you can bend to optimize pitch of launch and spin. So we're using that loft angle to optimize the amount of launch, the amount of spin, the amount of flight, and then the control when it lands. So the one thing to be careful of is if club to club, if you seem to get a full club's worth of distance difference between options, don't just assume it's technology based. It's probably because part of it's a loft difference. So that'll have knock-on effects. If the main body of the set's stronger, it's also going to mean the short irons and the wedges are stronger. So that's going to create, if you've got very low lofted irons, that's going to create gaps at the bottom end that all needs considering. So when we're looking to fit around loft, we're looking primarily at what someone's base launch and spin are with a fairly neutral setup. And then in order to get the flight to an optimum balance of launch and spin, we'd then use head start and loft to control that, so that we're getting a balance of performance through the set. It isn't just about how far the ball's going. Yes, I could hit the ball further, going another 2 degrees stronger and going to a head that's designed to take a bit more spin off. But what I then end up doing is losing control and losing flight at the top end of my irons, and then creating massive gaps down the bottom end. So loft is very, very important in terms of setting irons up, or setting any part of the bag up, it's particularly important when making sure you've got a balance of launch and spin, and therefore controlling the gaps and the balance of shots you get all the way from driver down to lob wedge. But say within the irons that we're looking at here, it's about flight control, distance control, control the ball lands, and then gapping all the way down to your lob wedge. So always pay attention to loft when you're testing irons, and make sure that you're not, one, testing with vast differences between them, but also using it to optimize your launch and spin.